Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Hindsight is Horrifying, the podcast where two and increasingly frequently three, and maybe even more, normal, or so we sort of like to make everybody think, adults sit and watch movies and TV shows from our youth, and we go back and we look at the things that we missed the first time, or we just talk about how great they were, or in retrospect, how terrible they were. Tonight's episode was supposed to be another guest episode with our good friend Shawann, wanny.g on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Unfortunately, due to a technical glitch, the first few minutes of that episode were lost. But the rest of the episode, all 90 minutes of it, were so good that we couldn't let it go. So here we are explaining ourselves to you. But we're not looking at it as a fault or a mistake. No, this is an opportunity to introduce a new segment on our show, Jason Screwed Something Up.
Jason screwed something up.
He had early onset Parkinson's or something that he had been diagnosed with, so that was part of it. Yeah, his wife talked about their last day together and said it was just the most perfect day. He took her out and did everything that she liked to do,
I heard about
she was reading in bed and she said he was acting really strange, just like still very loving and sweet, but he kept coming in to say goodnight to her over and over, like, good night, my love, I love you. Said it like must have been half a dozen times, and she said that was the last time she saw him, was when he was telling her goodnight.
Yeah.
So
well, and that I that's something I've heard about people who kill themselves. One of the reasons why a lot of people they don't see it coming is because they say, well, the last time I saw this person, he was so happy and upbeat and everything. And I talked to somebody once, there was a professor I had in college who was talking about the whole thing with Kurt Cobain.
yes.
And he was talking about how, and I personally think Kurt Cobain was murdered, but that's a different...
You're into conspiracy theories, though.
Conversation.
Yeah.
Shawann, was Kurt Cobain a little before your time, or?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know the band Nirvana?
I do not.
Oh
Okay.
man, I feel
Wow.
But have I
old
heard
right
that?
now.
I've heard that name.
Okay, he was a very
I feel
famous
very
musician.
old.
And I do
now,
love all
and-
genres of music. I do not know that band.
Brought that to a grinding halt.
I don't want you guys to feel.
Oh my God.
We're good.
I do know music though, guys.
So you think Kurt Cobain was murdered?
Yeah. But what he was saying is, it goes, you'll see that with a lot of people who, it's like they finally make the decision to do it, and then it's like they feel like, okay, well, I'm going to kill myself, and it's like a weight has been lifted from their shoulders.
Right.
And so they're all like bubbly and effervescent and everything else like that. And
Yeah.
fortunately, most people eventually come back to earth and realize this is a terrible idea.
Whereas others kind of crash
yeah,
and still wind up harming themselves, and it's horrible.
That's true though.
But how,
That is true.
it not, to take it away from the sad part, but okay, so in 2014, they're thinking about doing a sequel to Mrs. Doubtfire. How do you do a sequel
There
to Mrs.
is no
Doubtfire?
sequel.
You don't.
There
I
is
mean,
no sequel.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere after that. The character was an end game to get to his children. That
Right,
was the
yeah.
whole purpose of it. And it's a bittersweet ending because he doesn't wind up with his wife, but he gets the access to his children that he was wanting.
Yeah.
And who is he going to dress up
Well,
for?
maybe Miranda and
Danny.
Maybe they get married.
Maybe
Okay,
they get back
okay.
You know,
together.
maybe they get married.
Okay.
Wait, are
They
you
didn't
talking
break
about?
up though.
No, they broke up.
Miranda and her boyfriend.
Oh, okay. So Stu, Pierce
Yes,
Brosnan.
Stu. Maybe
okay.
they get married.
Yeah.
Maybe the kids grew up, and maybe the kids have families. I don't know where they can go with that,
Yeah,
but they could probably find something. They probably found something.
I'd have to dig to find.
I think you could do it where you would start off the movie with all the people that Robin Williams was friends with were being killed by assassins, and then it cut to Robin Williams living in a mountaintop cabin with his young daughter.
Okay.
And the army comes to him and says, "Your team's being wiped out." This is basically the movie.
It's two brothers
in
a van.
Yeah.
You're going off the rails like Rick and Morty style.
No. That's the plot to Commando.
Yeah. No, but it's just But
I
it's
need you back. I
When they
need
drove off,
Mrs.
something happened when
Doubtfire.
We need Marky Mark, but we can't get him unless we kill his dog first.
Oh.
In Shooter, that's what happened.
Oh, wait. I thought...
You're thinking about John Wick, I think.
No. There was a movie with Marky Mark in it where he killed a dog. And it was like...
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, and it was like the most traumatic moment of my childhood.
Like I know
Oh,
this
God.
movie.
No, because what happened was...
I definitely love Marky Mark.
It was... God, what movie was that? Because I'll never forget it. It was...
Four Brothers.
That might have been it. With the German Shepherd. It was
That's not it. That's not it.
It was a German Shepherd, and there's a dog flap, and it's one of those movies where him and other people are terrorizing children inside of a house.
Like you do.
Yeah, and it's like you see the dog flap move, and you see the dog's nose come in, and then like it's a dude holding the dog's head.
Oh, God.
It was the most traumatic moment of my childhood.
Oh, Marky Mark, if you're listening.
And I went to Catholic school.
Wow.
So
I went to a Catholic college, so I know.
Yes, but were you ever an altar boy?
No.
Thank goodness.
No. For some reason, my parents wouldn't let me do that.
Wow.
God knows.
No, let's just get away from that trauma. No, but I was referring to the movie Shooter, where Marky Mark, he's living in a cabin out in the woods with his dog, who he's trained to get him beers out of the refrigerator. And then, like, assassins come for them. They kill his dog. And then later in the movie, he's like, you don't understand. Because he's talking about, I'm going to get my vengeance. These boys killed my dog. So
hey, that's how I would be.
That's how John Wick
Yeah.
is. So,
if you kill my dog,
It's over.
There is no place on this earth you can go to where you will be safe.
You'll have to dress in a
Don't kill
fat suit,
somebody's
Mrs.
dog.
Doubtfire
Don't
style.
kill somebody's dog.
Yeah, just
No.
don't. It's not cool.
That's not at all.
Commando.
But yeah, so like I know we've spent a lot of this off topic up until now, but here's the thing about this movie that I didn't remember from being a kid was Mrs. Doubtfire doesn't appear on the scene until nearly 40 minutes into the movie.
Right. Yes.
It's like
Really?
36:50, yeah, something like that.
Well, that's how they used to do stuff like this.
There's a lot of setup, yeah.
You had to set every single thing up, because in a real sense, I mean, yes, the movie's called Mrs. Doubtfire, but it's really not Mrs. Doubtfire. It's Robin Williams' character.
Basically.
It's Robin Williams doing about 90 different characters.
Yes.
And
Fosse.
Martha Graham. God, we got to do the birdcage.
Yeah, I know.
But one other thing I learned about this, once he gets into the character, like every other word he says is dear, like, oh, hello, dear. And, and I looked it up. He says the word dear 101 times in this movie.
Okay.
They put that
Something
on the
insane
internet.
like that.
That is so random.
Yeah.
So you
Somebody
Google how
counted
many
it.
Times does he say?
Little known, mental floss will tell you so many things you never knew
And,
before.
and I guarantee you that wasn't somebody who like had a copy of the screenplay and just said, "Oh, how many?"
They were like watching, like
they
one,
watched it counting.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
back in the day when you actually had to do that. As
Hey,
opposed
imagine how bad this movie would have been if it was Mike Myers. But could you? But
to mutual disdain.
but how close
My
is
dear
this?
lady disdain.
How close is this to a Mike Myers movie, though? It's like,
Is it close?
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think if Robin Williams had said no, you could have seen,
Oh yeah, you could
Yeah.
have gotten a lesser comedian to do this,
Yeah.
and it just wouldn't have been as good.
No. Yeah.
Because I mean, even as much as I love Eddie Murphy, for instance, with the Clumps, he doesn't
my
have that many
favorite.
voices. Eddie Murphy's wildly talented, but he doesn't have a quarter of the voices that
Oh,
Robin Williams does.
look, Eddie Murphy is one of the most talented human beings. I would kill to see. Look, I mean, the other day, the other day, my kid wanted to watch the movie, the Haunted Mansion, and I was like,
love the Haunted Mansion.
no, and I was like, I don't want to watch this.
It's so good.
And I watched it going, I'm really surprised by how
that's
much I'm
good.
enjoying this.
Because I saw Daddy Daycare, and then when Haunted Mansion came around, I was like, "Oh God, I don't have the fortitude for
What
this."
was the one that Eddie Murphy did where it was the science fiction one?
Dr. Doolittle?
Oh,
No,
the one in Pluto Nash.
Pluto Nash.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
It's he's like a spaceman.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it, but yeah, I know
Nobody
what you're
did.
talking about.
Yeah. Nobody
I
did.
absolutely, not to go back,
that's
but I
me.
absolutely love the Haunted Mansion.
I've never
Oh, yeah.
seen it.
It's
Yeah.
such a good, especially during Halloween time, even though it's not like really scary.
the
it's such
best
a good movie.
the best season of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
That is
far.
I love
Because Halloween is the best holiday.
That's
it's
true.
better than Christmas by light years.
I don't know. Dragon Con is my personal high holy holiday.
Do you know the only reason why Dragon Con doesn't win it for me? Because here's the thing about Halloween.
Do tell.
Halloween is a holiday with zero responsibility. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to do anything. I literally, no one has ever been made to feel guilty for skipping out on something to do with Halloween.
That's true.
You know,
Christmas. About that.
Yeah, Christmas misery.
Yeah.
It's you have to travel. Yeah, I love Christmas too. If it wasn't for the fact that it's it's Christmas, travel thousands of miles to go see family.
Oh, see, that's the thing that I'm discovering with my my 1-year-old niece is that all holidays are now about her, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
you're
totally
right.
on board.
No, you're
for that.
you're absolutely right.
But like, it's just the sudden shift because a baby comes along, and then literally everything.
Now
changes.
we're putting back up decorations.
Yeah.
We haven't done this in 5 years.
Oh yeah, we're
That's how it was.
That's how it goes.
That's how it was in my family for years. It was Christmas was just a. It was a holiday. The family got together, but then my son was born,
and it was a huge
and
deal.
now it's like, ooh, Santa Claus and all this other
Family
stuff,
too,
and it's
yeah.
like,
baking
that's
cookies,
nice.
decorations, the whole nine. Yeah, you go out of your way. It's
Yeah.
Because you want them to kind of feel the same way you felt when you were growing
Right.
up. So it's like, let me just, show
Yeah.
them what it's really about.
Yeah, and that is, and that's honestly because people say, why do you let your kid watch the movies that you do? And I say, well, one, I watched them at his age too. My parents just didn't know about it. But
and
I
your
was
kid is like above average intelligent too. So
Yeah, he's a sharp one.
I've met your kid before.
Yeah, he's a sharp one. Yeah.
Not to interrupt you, Jason, but we got to a really good moment in the movie with it's just, and I think this might be one of the most memorable scenes, kind of like the, the Deo scene from Beetlejuice, where they're trying to find the look for Mrs. Doubtfire. And director Chris Columbus actually verified that they went through hundreds and hundreds of photos in real life to find the look for what Mrs. Doubtfire was going to be like until they landed on kind of a 40s style English woman.
Yeah.
And that's what they found. Because Robin Williams, he lands the job as or lands an interview as the children's nanny to come and meet them, and then he's like, oh, he's reacting to everything instead of being proactive. He's like, oh God, I guess I need to find a costume to where my ex-wife won't recognize me now. And even on the phone interview, he's winging it, and she's like, oh, well, what's your name? And he sees a clipping in the newspaper where it says Police Doubtfire.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Mrs. Doubtfire, dear. And that's just where it all starts. He just wings it.
Which is funny because he puts a lot of thought into every part of the plan.
Except for very important details like that.
Right.
Whatever,
Yeah. If I didn't know any better, I would think that a lot of that was definitely improv.
I
had
a bunch
to
of
be.
this
Yeah,
was.
okay.
Yeah.
Like that dinosaur scene where he's playing with the dinosaurs, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the rapping something." I'm like, that's improv.
The director actually used multiple cameras on Robin Williams at any given point whenever he was allowed to improvise, just to make sure they wouldn't miss out on anything. Because there's that point where the caseworker comes to inspect his apartment to make sure that the environment's safe for the kids, and that iconic moment where he smashes his face into the cake and the icing because he lost his rubber.
His face.
Yeah, he lost his face and it got run over by the truck. So he smashes his face into the cake, and apparently when he's making tea for the caseworker, the meringue sort of icing dripping off his face was a real thing that happened because of how hot it was on set. And Robin Williams just ran with it.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you've got to tea and your sugar.
He was like, "Oh, another drop."
yeah, exactly. So he just ran with it. And a lot of this, I think that
He's so good.
that's just what happened on a lot of his films is people were like, if he's like a wind-up toy. You wind him up and just let him go and see what we get.
Well, he's somebody who knew comedy. He understood comedy.
He did.
From the ground up. Yeah, he was a comedy god.
And that's something that I think a lot of people nowadays don't get that comedy's difficult. It's incredibly difficult.
Oh my god.
God, I know.
And you look at things like the Ghostbusters reboot.
With the ladies,
Yeah, where they tried to accomplish that, where Paul Feig is like, and it's not the same thing. It's like, no, if you had, Gilda Radner in the cast, or Madeline Kahn.
Yeah, because it had nothing to do with the fact that it was women. It was
it was the fact that
most
they
definitely not.
they just couldn't hang on the same comedic level as the original.
And they're really funny. Like, these are really funny females they had in that movie, like naturally outside of the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I enjoyed the movie, but it wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought I was going to be like crying.
It had its moments.
It needed to be a scripted, here's, somebody writing very funny dialogue and very talented people reading it, as opposed to something like, a Chevy Chase or Robin Williams movie, or even a Jim Carrey. In Jim Carrey movies in the 90s, like, what was Liar Liar?
Yes.
And I've never seen this, so I don't know that this is absolutely true, but I have heard this, that there are points in the screenplay, in the shooting script, where it literally says, dialogue, Jim does his thing.
I would not doubt that for even a heartbeat of a second.
And so it's like Jim Carrey just does his thing for a little bit, and then we pick it up again with dialogue to wrap up the scene.
He is just...
Well, it takes that kind of trust, and that's like every now and then lightning will strike, like on a show like The Office, where you can let Steve Carell play around with the cast, and they can actually bounce it back to him, and that's even more rare to let that happen. But because that's one thing that Ryan Gosling said about working with Steve Carell on Crazy Stupid Love, he was like, Steve taught me a lot of things. Mostly how not to laugh at him while I'm on set with him because, oh my God, he is so funny. Like, it was a huge thing. So some of these actors, and you never know that they're improving until years and years later.
And you hear about it.
And I mean, and that's the thing with the Ghostbusters movies. You think of, and maybe it's a generational thing, because I think probably the youngest person I know who's working who has that level of improv skills is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah. Oh God, she's
who
amazing.
Is fantastic, but you look at, if you had a magic wand and you could pull people from through. I mean, imagine Ghostbusters with Carol Burnett, Madeline Kahn,
yes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. That would be the best movie ever.
But do you guys, you didn't enjoy Kate McKinnon in that movie from SNL?
I like her.
I think she's the funniest.
I think they were all like and it's kind of like what we talked about on Caddyshack, Jason, where that was the first time you really saw like Harold Ramis, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, all those guys together.
Yeah.
But I think they were hoping lightning would strike from all this individual talent with the girls' version of Ghostbusters. Because all of those women individually are very funny.
Yeah. Well,
but they just didn't have the chemistry that the original Ghostbusters had.
I think it's sort of the Top Gear thing, with
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, with Ghostbusters you had, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, and
who were all just as different as the women who played the new Ghostbusters.
But they had worked together, and they had built this chemistry with each other, so they knew how to play off each other. Yeah. It's sort of like Jeremy Clarkson said with Top Gear. He said, "Look, if you want to have another Top Gear, a successful Top Gear, what you need to do is get 3 people, stick them on a desert island for about a year and a half."
Yeah.
Wow.
Because all the comedy of the show was the chemistry. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that,
them being able to rag on each other and bitch at each other and snipe when things are going badly, and then they're best friends 30 seconds later.
If the women who were in the Paul Feig Ghostbusters if that had been their 3rd, 4th, or 5th movie together, it would have been a vastly different movie, because they would have just had that, But you don't get that anymore. There is no Rat Pack. There's not, 3 or 4 people who hang out.
No.
Because it's hard to package that anymore.
Because it's hard to get comedy teams together too, as opposed to and that's why it was such a big loss to lose Robin Williams. And I know we haven't lost Jim Carrey; he's still with us, but he's gone a bit off the deep end.
He's in his own world.
He's in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So,
oh dear,
yeah,
I miss his old stuff.
Yeah, I think Jim Carrey kind of got a little let up with himself.
It's possible.
Yeah,
but imagine being Jim Carrey and just having all that just like energy and like years and years of just like he probably got tired.
Yeah, probably so.
Imagine he paints now. He was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. He's got his own studio.
Well, Seinfeld's a great example of a guy who, everybody says, Seinfeld, the greatest show, greatest comedy ever. But
he needs a script.
Well, but the thing is with Jerry Seinfeld is as close as you can come to being a scientist of comedy.
Oh yeah,
he understands the rules, the techniques he knows how to make something funny.
He can approach it surgically, whereas a lot of people have to approach it with a much looser feel.
And that's something that comedians all like. I remember as a kid, Maury Amsterdam, great old comedian. He was on the Dick Van Dyke Show. And Maury Amsterdam invented the triple. He said, "Comedy comes in 3s, Morty." But it's true.
I know. I'm agreeing with you.
And that was the thing. He would say, look, it's the triple. You do it in 3s, and that's funny. The stewardess comes up to you and says, coffee, tea, cyanide. It doesn't even matter what the joke was.
Yeah, right. No, it doesn't.
But you laugh, and it's like, well, because it's the triple. There's a science to comedy, and movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, I think, are great examples of people who know comedy.
Yeah, who don't have to stick to a formula to make it happen.
Yeah, they're comedy professionals.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for him, I think it was just super. It just was natural. He had to think about anything. He just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, they gave him, the script gave him enough to work with.
I'll wing it from here. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it loosened his reins to the point where they were like, okay, we're gonna loosen your line a little bit, let you out and see what happens, but then they may have to reel him back in because one of the things that happened on the set when Pierce Brosnan orders the jambalaya at the restaurant toward the end of the movie, and he's like, he's like, don't make it spicy, I'm allergic to pepper, which who the hell is allergic to pepper? I've never heard that. Ever. But Robin Williams apparently sneaks into the kitchen and puts extra spice on his pepper, and Mrs. Doubtfire does it. Yeah. But in real life on the set, Robin Williams was like messing with Pierce Brosnan while they were doing the choking scene, trying to prompt him to mess up. So they were just he would just do stuff like that. Yeah. There was another scene when Robin Williams passed. Mara Wilson, the little girl, who another interesting thing, Blake Lively auditioned to be the youngest child in this movie.
Okay.
And
I can see that.
She was too nervous because she had seen her first Robin Williams movie the night before. And so her dad or her mom was like, oh no, you're not doing this with Robin Williams. You're auditioning with his twin brother. So they were trying to calm her down, but then she gets introduced to him and the producers are like, this is Mr. Williams. This is Robin Williams. And she freaked out and messed up her audition.
Wow.
So Mara Wilson got the part and then became Matilda and was very famous. Macaulay Culkin her way to fame, but because she was just such a talented child actor.
Was the best.
But when Robin Williams passed away, she said that there was a scene that was cut from Mrs. Doubtfire where she did some sort of a callback to him having chopsticks in his ears, and she was like, it got cut, but he was supposed to sing us a song, but then he actually just started cracking jokes to make us laugh on the set because he was just so sweet, and he got along with kids so well, and I was just like, God, everything about this movie.
I think Robin Williams, and I've heard something like that before. It's he's sort of identified with kids.
Oh yeah,
more because with adults, it's a cliche, but it's the saddest person is the clown. You know, the jester is the one who's really crying, even though he's. And I think being around kids would inevitably, it's like you can just make them laugh and they just get it and they go with it and they don't question it.
Well, they see you without your walls, without your nuances and the cadences that you built around yourself. Kids just see through that.
And kids don't look at Robin Williams and think of the fact that, oh, well, you're worth millions of dollars.
Yeah, they just appreciate him
you're
because
a funny
he's the funny
person.
man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all he ever wanted to be, was the funny guy. I mean, go back and watch Mork and Mindy. Mork and Mindy, to this day, is hilarious.
With him with Mork with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Oh my God, that is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
And he invented it. He invented the role. There was no other actor in the world that could have been Mork.
And to think he first appeared on Happy Days.
Yeah.
As Mork of all places. Yeah. Because that show, oh man, they jumped the shark in a myriad of ways. They threw the shark party a couple of times.
Yeah. But,
sorry. No. I don't know. Don't let us steamroll you.
I did want to mention how the kids how their characters were. How, I guess grown they were.
Yeah.
And mature they were. I know I was, at their age, I was definitely mature, but I feel like I was not that mature.
Yeah.
The things they kind of said and did, I would never in front of my parents. Never.
Well, and not to a grown-up. And first of all, I wouldn't have hired a nanny if I had what appears to be a 15-year-old daughter who can look after the other kids.
And you can save you $300 a week.
Exactly.
$300 a week.
Well, in 1993, maybe that's what
I don't think Sally Field.
$300.
Yeah, I don't think Sally Field was hurting for the money.
She wasn't.
Probably not.
But still,
and this is a random thing, but when, as Mrs. Doubtfire, he's trying to cook his first meal for the family. And he's making something complicated like hollandaise, and he's never made a meal in his life, and he burns everything and sets his boobs on fire.
Yeah, he's like,
and he's like, why does hollandaise smell like burnt rubber? Oh my God! And then he's trying to put his flames out. But he orders takeout from this place that charges him $135 for 4 meals. And I was like, God, in 1993, that is the most ridiculous.
That's a lot of
thing
money
I've
in
ever
93.
heard.
It's a lot of money.
Even in New York, that's. Yeah.
I know, and they're in San Francisco.
Oh, they're in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole film was actually, it wasn't even filmed partially. It was all filmed in San Francisco.
Wow.
Because at one point, Robin Williams wore his Mrs. Doubtfire outfit to a sex toy shop.
Cool.
And yeah, exactly, right?
Wow.
It's like how, it's not on the same level, obviously, but my dad was at the final... Hang on. I'm going somewhere with it. My dad was at the final Channel 4 a couple of years ago when they were filming the second Ron Burgundy film, and Will Ferrell was there in his Ron Burgundy outfit. So not the same thing.
I have an interesting story about the second film, too, because they filmed a lot of that in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah, they did.
And I worked at a building. I worked at the, it's not the Equitable building anymore. I think they took Equitable off.
They did. I don't remember what they renamed
for
it.
years and years, it was the Equitable building. And I remember going out to go get lunch one day, and in front of the building and all up and down the street are cars, like old New York style taxi cabs, and suddenly there's like little pizza stands that have sprung
I'm in the land
up.
of Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm walking around going, this is it. This is how I'm gonna die. I'm having a stroke.
That's hilarious.
For some reason,
I
this
smell
is
pizza instead of toast, but
for some reason, this is what my brain picked, and I watched across the street. You know the big fight scene.
yes.
They were filming that right there, and it's
Wait, for the second
That's
movie?
so cool. That's dope.
yeah, it was the second movie.
Okay.
Yeah, because we saw. I got to see two. I got to be in one fight scene, but you can't see
Nice.
me. No, it's no, it's not. It's from the fourth Taken movie.
Oh, okay.
Gee, the fourth.
I was about to say,
Taken
that was a
movie.
jump.
Love Taken.
Yeah,
How many of those do there need to be?
Let
How
me
many
keep
family
going.
members does he have to kidnap?
There's-
It's such a good movie.
yeah. At some point, it's just bad parenting.
At some point, you're going to jail.
Well, I think it's 4 movies. There's a TV series.
What? There's a
yeah,
TV
there
series
is.
to
Yes,
Taken?
there's a Taken TV series.
That's probably really good.
I think it probably already got canceled.
I was about to say, I don't
Why would it get canceled?
Because it's probably not that good.
Yeah,
to be
because
perfectly honest.
every week it's
losing their care, losing
my
somebody.
fucking daughter got kidnapped again.
Why can't I keep track of this damn kid?
Right.
Put a
a bell on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like 24. As much as I adored that show when it was on, it was like, okay, the concept is starting to wear itself out.
Yeah.
Every season
Yeah.
is the hardest day of Jack Bauer's life.
This
It's
man will
so
go
intense.
24 hours without peeing.
Yeah. And then he had a heroin addiction, and it started to go off the rails, and it
Right.
just, oh my god.
What a day.
Yeah, seriously.
What a day.
What a day. Yeah, but so you were in the fight scene for one of the Taken
I was
movies.
yeah.
Were you were just walking by? You were
Yeah,
extra?
yeah, I was walking by.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, I wasn't an extra. My dad was an extra in a movie though. He was an extra in oh my god, what was it? It was a movie with Christopher Lloyd and Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
The one where they played mental patients who escaped from the
I'm not familiar with this, but I'm going to find it.
Yeah,
it's two of them that leave the.
yeah, they like
Is that a newer movie though, right?
No, this one's old. He was in New York on business, and he said
a
somebody
businessman.
just walked up to him and said, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?" And he said, "Sure."
Why not?
Wow.
And they said, "Okay." And they made them walk across the street and then walk back and then repeat that about 15 times.
Oh, yeah,
Being
you
an
got to.
extra. It's a chore. I've been on Walking
Yeah.
Dead before, and
Oh,
I
God.
almost melted.
Yeah, because they do cattle call extras
Yeah.
for
Oh
Walking
my
Dead.
gosh.
It's
I was a
something
zombie
insane.
in the middle of
Really?
2,500 other zombies. You wouldn't even see me.
Oh, that's still
It
cool
was
though.
so hot.
Like when they do herd shots where there's
Oh, my
hundreds and hundreds of walkers coming, they literally get tons of
they
people to
get
come
like
out for those.
100 extras, and they just. I guess they probably just double it. I don't know how they do all that stuff.
I think
but
they add on to it with
They
the CGI.
add on, but
still.
when I say they do it in the hottest area of Georgia in the summer,
yeah, out in Sonoy. Yep.
oh my god,
I don't know what it is, and I've lived in the South my whole life, but I really do think that people in the South don't understand concepts of like there's a part of the year when it's not
when
miserable
it's cool outside.
because we do everything in the hottest possible time of the
Yes,
year.
we do.
I like the heat though, but not Walking Dead heat.
Give me dry desert heat any
Or,
day.
or
all
you
those
know,
layers and-
Shakespeare in the park.
Oh,
You know.
that's a good example.
Okay, it's 97 degrees outside. That means you're going to need 3 pounds of
Yes,
makeup
yeah,
to sweat
yeah.
off the under 2 layers, and then maybe it'll last for 3.5 hours while you're wearing the heaviest costume in the history of the ever.
Yes.
When I say Titani, well, getting specific.
No, that's
No,
fine.
it's-
You trust me, we do it
We,
all
we're
the
just
time.
complaining about how hot it was.
Perfect. When I say Titania was sweating, I mean I'm like this, and my
Yeah.
hair was colored, so my hair is like melting. It was so
yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
So was everybody else.
So was the
Oh my
audience.
God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. So was the audience.
My friends were like, "Whoo, it was hot out there." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
It was hot enough in the theater with those costumes this year. I mean, I
Yeah.
would have melted in the park. But
Yeah. Oh, thank God for air conditioning in the theater this time. Yeah, that's
Jesus.
yeah.
The idea was a good idea. It just was way too hot.
Yeah, it could be retooled and done differently, and maybe it will. Maybe it won't.
We shall see.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So we're actually caught up with the film with the point that I brought up last, where
you
he
just
sets
brought this
himself on
up.
fire and then orders takeout.
That looks like cheesy grits.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's a bubbling thing.
It would have been a
Cheesy
hollandaise.
grits.
Oh, but I sort of prompted a memory back to our Death Race 2000 episode when when Robin Williams rips the Mercedes the piece off of Pierce Brosnan's car.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if it was adjustable. I just couldn't remember. But yeah, so nobody's going to get a Mercedes logo implanted on them if they get hit by that car.
No.
But yeah.
Robin was like, found this outside. Like,
Seriously.
he was really bullying him. It was so funny.
Well, and I don't know how he survived on this set with all that makeup, because I read that it took 4.5 hours to assemble that whole look for him.
Yeah.
It's like with The Grinch Stole Christmas and all that. Whenever you start getting all that, all those like prosthetic makeup and stuff like that going on, it takes hours.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's misery.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Michael Dorn, who played Worf on Star Trek: The Next Generation. I mean,
Yes.
he had to show up at like 5 a.m. Just so that he could get on set about 3 hours after everybody else, because it took that damn long of him sitting in a chair.
Yeah, it was the same.
I couldn't do it.
I don't
He's-
want all that stuff
No,
on me.
I couldn't do
I would
it,
get
yeah.
really claustrophobic.
See, that's what I would.
I
I
literally
would
freak
start.
out.
I would start just like getting
Get it
nervous.
off me.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Well, they not to bring up Marky Mark again, but they did a really funny bit. I think it was the MTV Awards many moons ago when they remade Planet of the Apes with James Michael Tyler, and James Michael Tyler had to show up at 3 a.m. to start his makeup because it was like an 8-hour process for him to be turned into a gorilla. And Marky Mark walks in, and they were like, "Okay, Mark, we're ready for your makeup," and they literally hit him with a brush twice, and he was like, "Cool, guys, thanks. Try not to take so long next time."
Yeah.
While James Michael Tyler's sitting there just throwing daggers at him with his eyes.
Well, how do you get it off? That quickly.
God, no.
Slowly.
I couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
but there's some actors who it's a weird experience for them. There was an actor named Andreas Katsulas who most people won't know. He played the one-armed man in The Fugitive, but he was also one of the regulars on my all-time favorite TV show, Babylon 5. And he played an alien, and he had a whole big prosthetic thing. It was the same sort of thing. But the weird thing with him was that he said, I never really felt like I was very handsome. I never felt like a handsome guy. But for some reason, when I have all the makeup on and they put the costume on me, all of a sudden I feel sleek and handsome. And he loved it. He would get in the makeup and he would stay in it all day. And just in case they needed him to come back, and
That's
reshoot
dedication
something.
right there.
He loved being in the costume. He said he felt like he was so cool looking.
I mean, it changes you. That's why it
Changes you.
Yeah, once you see yourself in the mirror as that character, it's not like you just put on a frilly shirt to do some Shakespeare. Or you put on a pirate costume. Well, no, even Pirates of the Caribbean, they talked about that because Johnny Depp showed up looking like that. He had gold teeth.
Yeah, he showed up looking like Keith Richards.
Yeah. And what was the guy? He was on Coupling who played Lieutenant Norrington.
Steve from Coupling.
Steve from Coupling, yes. He was like, Johnny showed up on set looking all badass and charcoaled and whatever. And I was like, Christ, I look like a cupcake. Because he had the powder wig and everything going on. But that was the problem with Pirates is that on paper...
But he got to kiss Sarah Alexander, so he wins.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so
She's a total smoke show. But but that was the problem with Pirates is that on paper, Will
she
Turner and Jack were
married-
the same person until Johnny showed up.
She married Peter Serafinowicz, though. So her name now legally should be Sarah Serafinowicz, which I think is kind of cool. I think that's
I
why
would go with that.
I think that's why she married
That
him.
rings.
Yeah.
Peter Serafinowicz is a genius of an actor.
Cool.
He's the Tick on the new the Amazon
Yeah,
series.
no,
The
I
Tick,
know who
yeah.
he is.
Yeah,
He's in...
and he's Darth Maul, the voice of Darth Maul.
I was about to say, I don't
he's
think
not.
that's right.
No, Ray Park. Ray Parks was Darth Maul.
But he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
And
Oh, he's everything. Yeah,
Parks and Recreation.
He's awesome.
He's everywhere.
Speaking of galaxies, Zoe Sandala. Zandala.
love her.
Did I say her name right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Zaldana?
I think,
Zoe Zaldana?
yeah.
Yeah.
The makeup she gets
Yeah, with that green makeup.
I've seen her take it off
my
on
God.
Instagram. She's so hot, by the way.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but can you imagine how long it would...
I've watched her Instagram like showing it getting like come off.
That's the
and
ultimate makeup
it's
guide right there.
literally, like it takes forever.
Well, and it's funny because in the movie,
It's got to be bad for you, too. Like, you
Well,
have to
your
think...
your skin
it's
can't breathe.
it's got to be...
Your skin is still flawless, so it can't be.
Well, I guess.
You
Her
can
skin
afford-
is definitely flawless.
well, she can
I
afford
love
fancy
her.
spa treatments and stuff,
That's
the likes of
true.
which.
I mean,
we
if
all
you
have
put
access
if you
to.
put that crap on me, I guarantee you, I would be the guy that I got the role. Oh no,
I quit.
I'm allergic to this. They have to
Fire me.
EpiPen me between
Fire me.
shots.
you pull a Wizard of Oz and say, "I'm allergic
Gene.
to the paint."
Gene, do you always look like that? My
couldn't
God,
do
you do always look like that.
I couldn't do it. I would literally have a panic attack.
Well,
Like,
unlike
get it
in
off
Mrs.
me.
Doubtfire, where Robin Williams can pull off his prosthetic stuff in like 30 seconds flat, and he's switching back and forth between being Mrs. Doubtfire and being Danny, and switching the like when the
Yeah.
I like you, Danny.
When
I kill
the-
you last.
When she
God.
would when they were
when the caseworker.
yeah caseworker
When
yeah.
she's examining his
Yeah,
apartment,
yeah.
because he runs back to his bedroom, which doesn't have a door, by the way. She could just easily walk back there if she wanted to. And he's like, "Oh yes, dear, Danny will be
Right.
right with you." And he's like, "Yeah, I just got out of the shower. 1 second." And
Yeah, but he was like, I'm in the shower. Yeah, the shower kind of, it saved him, the shower. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to go walk in there and see him,
yeah.
He kind of won up Dustin Hoffman, because when Dustin
looks like a lady.
Because when Dustin Hoffman played Tootsie,
Yep.
there was no prosthetics; it was just makeup.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
just
Yeah,
makeup on
you
Dustin
know.
Hoffman. But but that was the thing about Robin Williams is that he committed. It's
yeah.
the difference between
went all the way in.
with bacon and eggs. The chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. Robin
Yes,
Williams
yeah,
was always
yeah.
the pig.
Did
matter
either
what.
of you see the movie What Dreams May Come?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't. It seemed kind of sad, and that was when he started doing serious movies, and I couldn't really cross over that
hate
threshold
when
when
they
I was
do
younger.
that.
Well, I will say this about that movie. Nobody, it's universally panned. People don't like it. I saw it in the theater, and I love seeing movies on opening night because I'm unpolluted. There's no influence about
Nobody
anybody
can tell
saying...
you it's great or it's horrible.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Mr.
Exactly.
Contrarian over there in the corner.
Yeah, and it's like, well, no, seriously, that's a thing because I walk out of the movie and the opinion I have, this is my opinion, and I loved that movie. I thought it was one of the most beautiful movies, and Robin Williams, he was so sincere and honest, you know, and I'm not. Look, I mean, the whole serious Robin Williams thing. I didn't like Patch Adams.
I didn't see that one either. That one,
me
that one
neither.
seemed even more sad.
It is
With
no
dying
that
children.
no
It
that
just-
no dying children. No, you don't even know the half of it.
I've never really gotten into Patch Adams.
yeah,
much.
yeah, you
But-
know the woman he loves, and then
Don't tell me. I'll actually watch it now since if
It's not. Look,
You
it's
say
not.
it's good, I might check it out.
It's not bad, but it is. It's an emotional trip. What Dreams May Come, I love because it was so abstract, and it just has this whole beautiful concept of heaven and hell and what it would look like and all this stuff, and it's really cool. And Robin Williams, he had this. You watch it, and again, it's like we said before. You're watching it now, thinking about what happened to him in the end,
Right,
see, that's why I might be a little
and
too
it's
might not be able to handle
yeah.
that.
right.
Which is weird because the major plot point in that movie is the fact that somebody commits suicide.
Yeah.
And that's, he's got to save her in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really, yeah.
Sorry, we just missed the
This
point
is
where
a
he
huge
pulls the hood
piece.
ornament off.
But I like this part they added into it when he walks in and sees his family with another man.
Yes, and
It was like, what are you gonna do?
it's
Yeah.
little poignant moments like this where you can feel the knives just stabbing.
Oh, it's a knife. It's a
into
knife
his
in the
heart,
gut.
his
like,
face off at that point
Yeah.
and be like, what is this?
get away
Yeah.
from my family.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But see, it's deeper than that because he knows he screwed up.
yeah,
He knows.
Well, because
Because-
they're not like talking trash about him, and
Yeah.
that those are the other points in the movie where because the oldest daughter Lydia is really pushing back against the nanny. She wants to be with her dad, and she's giving her
I
mom
feel
a
like
whole
the
bunch
first
of.
day she did that.
Well, no, but then she sees how sweet he is. He gets like the whole dinner ready for them, and the mom comes in just smiling, like, "Oh, this
He's
is
not a bad
wonderful."
guy.
No,
He's
he's
not.
not.
He's not bad. He's not. And that's what they would do. If they made this movie today, he would be a villain.
Probably
He would be a bad guy.
No,
Yeah.
but
Almost
Lydia,
definitely.
Yeah.
she runs out of the townhome, like speaking to Mrs. Doubtfire. She thinks, and she's like, "Hey, so I'm really sorry. I
Yeah,
was being
yeah.
such a pain." She was like, "I haven't seen my," and she wasn't even saying anything directly about her
Right.
dad. She goes, "You made my mom happy, and I haven't seen her happy in
Never.
Oh wow, I don't think I've seen her happy, and you just see the pain on his face, and it's just so heartbreaking.
That part was sad. And
Well,
he couldn't hold it.
It is, and I think everybody knows because everybody's had that moment.
Yeah.
When like you've been dumped, or you know there's that empty, hollow feeling, you know, and the whole movie, if you really look at it with grown-up eyes. That's what he's going through.
Yep.
You know, these are the lengths he will go to, you know, to just kind of get something.
Yep. Because just even he's going through the breakup process, which is terrible in and of itself, and having his children technically taken away from him. But that's what really captured this is the kids go upstairs and they're like, "I wish Dad was here," and he's like, "I'm here, guys." In a different way.
He said
it was
that.
just my God.
I mean, he just knows he screwed up, but it's like I feel like he understood he screwed up, so he wasn't going to do too much.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to make their lives harder for them, so he just finds a way to be part of it. But so he's going through the breakup, but he's also watching his family actively move on.
Right.
And most exes
deep.
don't have to watch that process of watching your wife fall in love with another man and your children maybe liking him and him getting play with your kids.
Well, it's so soon, it's so quick.
Yeah, it was quick.
You know, there's no period where you know, you're getting used to the fact, and then you find out your ex is, she's dating somebody. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you know.
At least I don't have to see that.
Yeah.
And she also said, Doubtfire said, you're moving on too soon. Are you sure? Remember she was trying to
a self-serving
convince her not to move on.
No, that's what's happening right now actually on the screen.
Yeah. And I was like, I get it, but it's like, she's been moved on. It's not with a man.
Yeah.
She's moved on mentally.
She moved on emotionally.
Robin Williams, his character's got to deal with the fact that, okay, my wife clearly had not been in love with me for a very, very long time.
And I think that was the biggest, most bitter realization is that because it's later that they sit down together and have tea again.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I mean, and those moments in this movie start out kind of funny where it's almost like they're ragging on him. Like, oh yeah, the sex was okay. That's not really why I fell in love with him.
Dang.
And, well, I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire asked, so she answered her direct question, but she was
tough,
like,
though.
she's like, that's not why I fell in love with him. That was okay. But why I really fell in love with him is because he was just so different and he was so funny. And then he's like, yeah, okay. And you see the spark come back, but then she's like, but then one day, it just wasn't funny anymore, and I cried myself to sleep every single night. And you just
imagine.
And then he was like, why did you ever tell him?
Right.
And then he's like, why did you never tell him? And she's just like,
he never really took anything seriously.
I don't even care to tell you,
right?
Because you're not going to listen anyway.
Yeah, he wasn't He wasn't good at talking because he never took anything seriously.
Yeah.
And
he's a goofball.
Yeah.
He can't help. He's a child at heart.
And this,
exactly. And it's sort of like this movie is the story of him finally. He does this ultimate childish act,
right?
But that's what ends up making him finally mature to say, "Okay, I get that." See, that's why a sequel
it didn't need to happen.
It wouldn't work. You know?
It would have been good to see where they went with it, but I feel like we all would have been like,
let Sleeping Doubtfire's lie.
It would. Oh, God.
I'll see myself out.
I don't know what they would have done with that.
I don't know.
If I had been the director, I would have said, we have to do something totally absurd. Because you can't
It would have been like the fourth Big Mama's house or however many.
It would have been like, you know, the president.
You know,
you have to go to the White House and be the maid at the White House to protect the president from being assassinated.
Oh, no!
Because any of the emotional stuff, it's like we did the emotional stuff.
Cried.
Yeah,
we did that.
We crossed the emotional bridge.
For
it's fine.
20 years, we've been crying from this movie. Are you kidding me?
That's what the people who make Toy Story don't friggin' understand.
So what's going on with that? I've heard they come with a new one. But what is that about?
I will tell you this. Because I was in Florida for a week, and we've got the annual pass. So I said, okay, look, one day I'm not going to work. We're just going to make a trip out to Disney. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we did. We made one, you know, and my kid sees the plush of Forky. The whole point of the plot of the movie, as far as I can tell, is you have all the toys and they're doing their thing, and the little girl in the movie makes a toy out of a spork and it comes to life and it has this sort of, existential crisis where
Because it's not really a toy.
it doesn't know what it is. Is it a toy or is it a fork?
What?
Yeah. Okay. But Tony Hale, who was Buster in Arrested
Yeah.
Development, and he was in Veep.
I know it's a bird. I'm on the phone.
And he was in one episode of Community, which is a really good episode.
We're never going to go a damn episode without you
No,
talking
you're
about
not.
Community. I swear
Nope.
to God.
But he plays Forky. But so we're, my kid gets the Forky toy, and we're going up, and the guy behind the register is like, "Oh, I love Forky, so great." And I asked him, I said, "Do you guys get to see the movie?" And he said, "Well, at the shareholder conference, we got to see the first 20 minutes of the movie of Toy Story 4."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, let me ask you this. Did you cry?" And he said, "Yeah, by the end of the first 20 minutes, I was bawling my eyes out."
God.
And I went,
Wait,
"I'm
what?
done." And I went, "I'm done. I'm out."
No.
Well, you were done with the
People
toys
are
in the
dying.
furnace.
Toys are dying?
Oh,
it
it's
goes.
so... Have you seen Toy Story 3?
I did, and is that when
They almost melt in a furnace.
Yes.
And they're reaching out and
Yes.
holding hands with each other.
But they end up
can't.
surviving. But
Yeah.
that scene right there, as I wasn't a kid then, but I was still mentally, I guess you would say, a kid.
Well, because that first one
hurt.
came out in 1995 when you and I would have been in single digits. So
Yeah.
Oh, screw both of you.
fight me.
I was 16.
I was like 4.
I was driving when that movie came out.
I was about 10 when that movie came out.
1995. I was like 3.
Yeah. So then you wouldn't have seen it in theaters, but I remember it because I remember my dad laughing at the jokes in that movie, like Bo Peep walking away and the building blocks with the letters on them. She's like, "Woody, if you ever need me, I'm just a couple of blocks away." And my dad would laugh and stuff like that I didn't
That's a
get.
great joke.
So I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of where I got Shrek was the actual
Yeah.
inspiration for this podcast, but that movies moments like that.
Shrek. Okay.
Shrek when they roll up
That
on
makes
Duloc and he looks at Donkey and he's like, "That's an awfully big castle. Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?" And like I didn't get that when I was 14 when that movie came out, but then
And
I
you said,
rewatched
"Dad,
it.
what does he mean?" And he, "Well, sweetie, he's talking about the man's penis."
Yes.
No, I
When
saw.
they
Yes.
sung that, when those little characters sung that little song, when they opened the little thing, and
Yep.
it's like,
The music box, yep.
I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, I love this movie.
So,
Yep.
but here's the thing about Toy Story 4, though, is
Yeah.
if you go and you can see it on YouTube, if you go watch the first trailer that they put out, it is nonstop, sad music, emotional,
I can't
Woody.
do it.
Yeah, and it's like Woody.
There's some angry people writing these
child,
scripts.
every kid loses toys, and all this, and it's so sad, and Toy Story 3 ended with, and I'm not, look, I'll be honest, Toy Story 3, being a father, okay, the scene where, Andy is giving away all of his toys to Bonnie, and he's going through
His little sister, right?
No, she's a great character, but she's not related to him.
Okay.
And he's giving all the toys to Bonnie, and he's saying, "Oh, this is Buzz." He's.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I cried my
did-
eyes out.
I think we talked about this because they did a Stan Lee adaptation when he died, and he was passing all of the characters off to. Oh my god!
Well, here's the thing, Pixar. Okay, dear Pixar, from me,
Oh god!
I've got enough of real life. I got real life coming out of my ears. If I want to see real life, I can go outside and see real life. I want
lies.
I want not real life.
I want happiness. And
That's what I love about David Lynch. David Lynch does not give you real life.
this is true.
You got real life everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's right. People will make fun of they're like, "Oh, what grown-ups are watching True Blood? What grown-ups are watching this or that?" It's like,
A lot of
It's
grown-ups.
nothing
A
like
lot.
real life. That's why a lot of
Right,
people watch
that's
television.
why-
We want to laugh and
Exactly.
feel like we aren't
And
really.
it doesn't hurt that Alexander Skarsgård shows up on occasion. Just saying.
Behave.
Just saying.
See, but every time you say
Alex,
that,
I know you're listening.
every time you say that, though, I think of Stellan Skarsgård, the vastly superior actor.
His dad.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bootstrap Bill from Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. He was also in Deep Blue Sea. The shark flung him up against the glass.
God, I love that.
He's amazing in life.
I hate how much I love that movie.
Oh my! We got to do that.
You know what
too.
movie we need to do? I actually saw a movie the other day. It was the first time in years I've seen a movie that it was like somebody got it as far as how to make a bad movie but really good. The Meg.
Yes, I actually watched that the other day.
It was awesome.
It's that Jason Statham movie with the megalodon shark, which is this prehistoric shark that's like 60 feet long. It's basically like a giant great white shark.
Yeah.
And they used to exist, but as far as we're aware, they're extinct.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Jason Statham and Fang Bing Bing.
But they
Who is
found
so
this sort
goddamn
of
hot.
they found this sort of subterranean level of the ocean where the Meg somehow still exists, and it's a trash-tastic movie.
But it's awesome.
It's like a purposeful train wreck.
Yeah, but it's not as it's like the right amount of schlock.
Yeah,
You know?
they knew what they were doing.
They did, and it ended up like my son and I we saw it in the theater, fully expecting like let's go see a bad movie and just rip on it the whole time.
Oh yeah,
But we ended up not ripping on it. Like, yeah, okay, this is actually kind of fun.
it was just kind of like Deep Blue Sea on crack. Like it was
There will
more
ne-
off the
there
rails.
Will, there will never be another Deep Blue Sea, though.
It was just. I'm just saying this was
Yeah.
a more off the rail train wreck
Yeah.
version because Deep Blue Sea was kind of. We've discussed
Yeah.
this so many times how much we love that movie.
that needs
so-
to be the premiere of our second season.
I agree.
Is Deep Blue Sea.
Tom Jane,
Do it.
come out and guest star with us. We love you. Or Samuel L. Jackson, either way.
Or Macaulay Culkin.
What does he have to do with Deep Blue Sea?
Nothing, but he's probably available.
Oh, okay. Burn. And we lost Macaulay Culkin.
This guy right here, you guys don't even understand. He's
Yeah.
so funny.
I'm surprised that we're talking through so much of this movie, but when you really think about it, we've hit the initial plot points and all the essential stuff. But
I
now,
haven't made any Arrested Development jokes.
yes, you've referred to Arrested Development already.
Can I make?
I made an
the
Arrested Development
Office
joke.
really
Yes.
quick? The Office.
Absolutely. Oh dear.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Is that because of the CPR in the movie, or why are we doing
I
that?
just thought about. I visioned.
Dwight.
Dwight's like cutting.
Oh, the prosthetic
when he
face
cut
off the
face
dummy.
off,
Yeah,
he's like,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I'm
and
with
Andy's
you.
like getting up like.
Well, because they're trying to teach the Office members CPR, and
so
that's the
much.
beat that you're supposed to go to.
I love that show.
I thought you were linking that because Mrs. Doubtfire is like, oh yes, I know
You
CPR,
said I,
dude.
thought I just heard the Office in my mind. I was like, let me go with this.
When is it a bad thing to have the Office on the
love that
brain?
show.
It's
No,
so
it's
great.
not.
But yeah, I can totally see the prosthetic face with Dwight.
Yeah.
Oh God. Hello, Clarice. It's such a great episode.
Oh man, that's
such a
that,
When
that's
Stanley has a heart attack.
That's an awesome
Stanley,
movie.
Barack is president. It's just,
Oh yeah.
that episode is so great. But so
I had a great aunt who they thought that she was having a stroke once, and they asked her the question. They were like, they're saying, "Well, who's president of the United States?" And
Eisenhower.
No, she just decided to. No, she just decided to fuck with him.
nice.
No, seriously, she
what
was.
did she
She was.
say?
They were like, "Well, ma'am, Miss Mitchell, who's the president of the United States?" And she was, Elvis. My God, this woman is in deep trouble. And they kept asking her questions.
Get her to the hospital.
She just kept lying to
That's
them
hilarious.
because she's like, "I'm fine. I know the president is. These guys are idiots."
Right, I'm cool.
Oh man, one of the things I like about this movie, cutting back to Robin Williams and all that, is the bus driver's crush on him when he's dressed up like Mrs.
shows
Doubtfire.
that leg.
Yeah, he's got that hairy
was
leg.
too much.
Well, because that's something I didn't know
He had
for
a
years about.
pantyhose, fetish.
But well, he even says to him specifically, he's like, "Oh, I like that Mediterranean look on women. That's how God made you."
And I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, what?
Pump
on.
your brakes. Pump your brakes, please.
And Robin Williams, like
He
he goes
pulls
to,
all his purses.
Yeah,
and he's
just
like,
puts his
I
luggage.
don't want to be looked at.
you know, I was
I'm
like,
faking, but I don't want you.
welcome to being a woman, because dressed like that, you wouldn't think that he'd gather any unwelcome attention. But God
Exactly.
help me, women everywhere know how that is.
There
And
is a
Exactly.
man out there for every type of woman.
there really is.
Exactly.
Go to
You're
Disney
dying.
World.
So don't you settle.
You'll see it.
Oh my.
I mean, because Disney World is a museum of the most bizarre human beings you will ever see.
What do you mean?
Oh my God! Well, they have these things, ECVs, electrical something vehicle.
Okay.
And they're basically for fat people who don't feel like walking around.
So Wally,
Like the
type
airport.
people.
Yeah, like at the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is amazing to see, the couples that are at Disney World.
Okay.
And the bizarre mixtures of people, and you just think, what is this doing to our gene pool?
Hey, love comes in all sizes, literally.
Yeah, no
Love
shit.
is a battlefield.
Yeah, but hopefully the Japanese will save us from it. Sex robots.
No.
Wow.
You and your freaking sex robots. Ugh.
I got an
should be
Oculus Rift.
interesting.
Did I mention that to anybody?
Oh, God.
No, seriously, I just got it today, and this has nothing to do with anything.
What did you buy?
It's I have the box right here.
Wow.
Did you name it after Archer's fiance?
What is that?
The Oculus Rift S.
Oh.
This thing is astonishing. I had a buddy of mine. He just picked one up.
Product placement.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, a buddy of mine just picked one up, and he said, "Look, you've got to get one of these."
What?
How does Elaine not murder you over all these toy purchases? I just don't understand this. Every time we talk, it's like you got a Ghostbusters pack.
Father's Day present.
Wow.
Oh, early Father's Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because we're going to be out of town on actual Father's Day because
sense.
we are going to Los Angeles.
Woo! LA.
Yes.
I'm going.
A week,
back
a
to
solid
Cali.
week in LA.
That's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, and we've been saving up frequent flyer miles for like.
I was about to say, y'all been planning this one for a while.
Well, we finally the whole reason the thing that prompted it was that we looked at our statement of our frequent flyer miles because we just never used them.
Right.
Because we always say, well, we'll save them. And finally somebody, I think it was probably my son,
Save them for what?
who said, well, what are you saving them for? Use them.
Thank God.
I'm
for
telling you,
your
And-
this child.
Yeah,
so
so
smart.
first class to Los Angeles, I think we paid $200 for the tickets.
genius.
Oh my God, yeah. And so we're staying at Disneyland. But the first night, I'm totally jazzed about this. The most haunted place in California, the Queen Mary, the ship.
Yes.
The first night we're staying in Long Beach and we're doing a ghost tour.
Sweet.
at the-
No, you're not.
Yeah.
That'll
yeah.
be the grown-up fun, and then y'all have David level fun for
That
the
is
rest of the
scary.
Oh,
week.
he doesn't believe in ghosts. He thinks they're stupid.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Well,
thinks.
that's-
He said,
okay.
if ghosts did exist, what the hell could they do to you? They can't touch you. And I'm like, well, okay,
That's
that's
He's
fine.
of the Beetlejuice volition.
They
I
get-
guess.
Yeah, no, he's
Well-
totally like, yeah, ghosts, bullshit.
Yeah,
his
so
words.
you're
Yeah, yeah,
His
9-year-old kid.
right.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not buying it.
yeah. Whatever. What are you gonna do to me? You're dead.
I like this guy.
Yeah. No, but so we're hoping to go to see Ghosts on the Queen Mary, and then we're gonna spend a week in California, and I am gonna do every Die Hard reference.
everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna eat
I went
so
to LA for
much
my
food.
25th, and I literally had the best time of my life.
I bet.
So much fun.
Somebody's going to pick up on those Die Hard references. Believe you me.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Fucking California.
Because like hell, and I know.
Come out to the coast. We'll have a good.
have a few laughs.
Have a good time.
Which was also on The Office. They quoted that movie like from front to back. But because I know you're not a Game of Thrones fan, Jason.
I
but when
am.
but okay, so when I was serving jury duty back in January, we learned because I had never been a juror before. They tell you, they assign you a number, and they tell you you're not going to be addressed as your name. You'll be
Right,
addressed as
yeah.
your number. And so I'm sitting amidst my group of 12 jurors, and I say, "Oh, a girl has no name," and one guy got the joke.
Where are the Game of Thrones fans?
Well, 2 of 3 in this room because
Jesus.
Jason has never watched a
Game
single
of Thrones.
episode.
When I say I cry, I literally, it was a tear sitting right here.
Yep,
Last episode, it hurt. That show is phenomenal.
yep. It was good.
Wow, it's over.
I can see
Yes,
the
it is.
life coming out of Jason's eyes.
No, I walked into. I had to go to the AT&T store because my SIM card, my phone was going out, and I walked in and I said, "Oh, when did AT&T stores become the museum of Game of Thrones?"
When they came out.
Everything in the store is Game of Thrones, and I said,
Yeah.
"You guys are really okay.
They're riding that final wave.
You're really just
People
sink your
love
teeth
Game of
into that,
Thrones.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, so back to the movie. We just had a really funny moment that I liked because the family goes to Pierce Brosnan's like private country club pool or something like that, and poor Robin Williams can't swim with the kids obviously because he's got that big fat suit on and everything, and
True.
so he's sitting at the bar getting hammered. And
Oh, yeah.
he throws an orange at the back of Pierce Brosnan's head, and he's like, "Oh, sir, it was someone. Oh, it was a run-by fruiting."
Because that was the thing back then, the drive-by shootings.
Yeah,
Remember that?
in the 90s,
that
yeah,
was
there were a lot of them.
very
That was
topical
definitely-
back then.
It's
It
not,
was.
Yeah.
it's not as crazy.
No, but it was a run-by fruiting. It just.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, I think with
This was huge too.
the moment with the dinosaurs, because and it goes back to another moment early in the movie because Robin Williams is watching this really dry kids entertainer being like, today, kids, we're going to talk about dinosaurs.
Oh,
and
God.
this was this kind of dinosaur, and this one flew. And he was like, no, he's like, don't condescend to children when you entertain them. Just have fun with them.
It needs to be more like Stanley Spadowski's Funhouse.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah, he
The
gets
right
up.
people will get that joke. Not many people will get that one.
You make those sort of elusive jokes. all the time.
UHF, baby. I love that movie.
But yeah, so Shawann, I know you like this part where he's literally, because he had to have just improv'd all of that.
I kind of just like love the fact that he finally got noticed. That he like somebody finally saw his talent.
Oh yeah, because he
That
got
was my
fired
main
from the same
thing.
network, and then
And he was doing great, but like this guy finally saw like I see what you can do.
yeah,
That's what I love about that part.
Which is, I mean, that's the Los Angeles story, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
it's the right people, the right time, you know?
The right talent.
it's kind of happening in this very room,
Yeah.
if you will.
Wow,
The
wow.
right people meet
Well,
each
that's the
other
thing
at the
about-
right time.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Hey, look,
Totally agree.
they say in Los Angeles, I mean, they have the most attractive waiters and waitresses in the world.
They do.
You know? I actually have a friend of mine who has decided that her daughter, when she becomes a 16-year-old,
He's gonna move out to LA with her.
will move to Los Angeles to become an actress.
Wow.
Yeah, and I said,
Wow.
that's
At
a
16,
that's a terrible idea.
that's a
Does
heavy
she
undertaking.
want to do that?
Oh, that's all she wants to do.
Yeah,
She
but
could
not
be a
at
child-
16.
She should have started earlier
Yeah.
and be a child actress up and then keep going.
Yeah, but
you
that's
know?
a risky venture too, because then you could wind up like Macaulay Culkin, Mariel Wilson, Matilda from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She took a 12-year acting hiatus after
Yeah.
Matilda. She just didn't want to do
Well,
it.
a lot
That's
of successful actresses, you know, they were young when they were kids. You know, they were young
Drew
actresses.
Barrymore, yeah.
Then they went to college and got degrees, and
Well,
then
that's
they
like
went
Nat-
back.
Yeah, like Natalie Portman did that. She went
Yeah,
to
oh,
Harvard.
yeah.
But like Drew Barrymore's life went off the rails for quite a while. And
But she had Drew Barrymore. The deck was stacked against her.
her family was
Yeah.
also messed up too.
Yeah.
It was kind of like with Michael Jackson's background.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it just
Yeah.
he had all this pressure as the star of the Jackson 5,
Yeah.
and plus his family was totally screwed up. So
Oh, God.
Yeah.
it's a mess.
He never had a chance of being a normal person.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Especially after he got burnt that time.
Yeah,
It was over.
Yeah.
oh, the Pepsi shoot.
He was already,
Yeah.
like super insecure about whatever, and then once
about
that
how he
happened, it
looked
was
and
over.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but you know that's not my.
yeah.
Well,
Nobody
Not
will really
me.
ever know.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I mean,
He
you know,
was hot.
yeah,
My
I
mom
mean-
was like, we loved him. He was hot.
Yeah, we've all known plenty
very
of attractive
pretty.
people who thought they were not.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
And we're
you know?
looking like, what are you looking
Right.
at?
Well, it's like Dolly Parton. Her whole inspiration for her look came from when she was a very little girl.
Okay.
She told this story at one of her concerts where I was there with my mom. And she said, y'all, we used to live out in the hills and we would only go to town once a week. And Daddy would like drive us down in the wagon and I would see this really pretty blonde lady standing on the corner in town every time we went. Yup, you see where I'm going with this.
Wow.
As a young little girl, she had
Yeah,
no idea that she
yeah.
was like, oh, that's the most beautiful lady I've ever seen in my life. I want to look just like that. And she's been modeling herself after the town prostitute her entire life.
Could have done worse.
No,
There's
she could.
nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah,
She's
it
could've done worse.
successful.
It's what worked for her. But
Yeah.
And she's not trashy.
no, she's
At
a great
all.
lady.
Well, 'cause the
At
thing about
all.
Dolly Parton that I love about her is that she owns it.
She owns it.
Oh, yeah, she's
can't
She
deny
owns it.
She's like, I'm
Yeah.
addicted to plastic surgery. I admit it. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like, it's her thing. But with Michael Jackson, it was always like, oh, well, I've got this skin condition, and that's why I died.
bullshit.
My
And he,
skin.
did, and he
Yeah.
did have it, but it's like.
But it wasn't severe enough to warrant.
But his
all
nose,
those changes.
his nose,
I mean, I
though.
have the same skin condition on
Really?
my neck. This is what that is.
I didn't know that.
It's not a birthmark.
Okay.
It's the same thing. So I'm not saying I'm comparing me to Michael Jackson, clearly, but yeah. no comparison. But I'm saying I feel like years and years of just being in his light, it probably got super freaking
Well,
frustrating.
can you imagine
Michael
what-
Jackson, that's a different level.
Yeah.
Of,
Well, I had a
my
high school
God.
lit teacher, Mrs. Rosenberg, who told us, she was like, the problem with Michael Jackson is that he surrounded himself with people who wouldn't, not that he did it
Yeah.
on purpose, but he was
Yeah.
surrounded by yes men.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the what? Every time he got
Well-
surgery,
Podcast
oh, you look
about
great,
that.
Michael. Every time he changed his skin,
Well-
oh, you look even better, Michael.
Well,
like, and
there's
it
a-
just worsened.
he kept going.
There's a great
Rest in peace.
story about how when a Roman general would return to Rome after having this big victory, they would have this huge parade. and they would go
Very
through the
Billy
street.
Madison of him.
Yeah. They would. I was going to say Ferris Bueller, but
Every time he passes a grade, he gets a party.
Really?
But they would have this big
Sandler.
parade, and everybody there would be throwing flowers and all this stuff at him. But they would have one slave standing next to him saying,
Wow.
"Remember, thou art mortal," and he would just repeat
Keep him
that in
modest.
his ear the whole time.
I like that.
Whoa.
And it's like they got it, because as soon as you start thinking that you're not like everybody else,
It's over.
it's over, man.
There's no turning back.
Yeah, there's no turning back.
Your mind
No,
is just...
Yeah.
even The Simpsons, I know how much of a Matt Groening fan you are.
Yeah.
As a Mr. Burns goes bankrupt or something, and he's surrounded by his lawyers and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I did everything right. Yes, sir. Yes, you did. Absolutely. Oh, I made all the right moves.
Right.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, you
Right.
did. Oh, I see it all now. I've surrounded myself with yes men. Yes, sir. Yes, you
Yes,
have."
yeah.
So and I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just what happens to successful people when they don't hear any sort of contrast
Right.
to how great they are.
Right.
It
You need
just
somebody
ruins their
telling. You
lives.
need somebody that's gonna like keep it real with you.
Exactly.
You don't need. I literally just heard that earlier. It's like you don't need. You need people that's gonna say say yes.
Right.
No, I don't know. You need all kind of people around
Yeah.
you, not just yes man. That's not
Yeah,
gonna work.
exactly.
That's
Because
not gonna work.
if I mean, there's so many historical, examples of that. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at somebody like Eisenhower. Eisenhower, his whole thing was he wanted everybody to be honest with him. Mm-hmm. And he was great, did a great job. Nimitz, same way, did a great job. You look at the German generals, not that way. They wanted people to tell them how great they were.
They would slowly collapse like a flan in a cupboard.
Yeah, exactly. Ottoman Empire, full of furniture
for some reason. Okay, so at some point we got to talk about this movie,
Right.
But speaking of like big egos and child scarring, we discover Mrs. Doubtfire's true identity because Danny's son walks in on him peeing standing up in the bathroom.
I had that note.
Which
yes.
is so. Tell us
Yes.
about that because that was just an awkward moment all
for
over.
For me, I love how like he saw him using the restroom clearly as a man.
Yep.
And he runs to his sister. He's like, "We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go.
Call the cops."
And his sister doesn't know what's going on. And then Doubtfire walks in and she's like, "You better hold on. You better step back," with her little tennis racket. And she's so ready.
Oh, the daughter.
they're
yeah,
so
Lydia.
ride or die siblings. Too.
Oh yeah,
they're
she looks
so in
after
love with
them.
each other. Yeah, yeah. And
Well,
then
the daughter is actually really cool. Lydia, the oldest daughter, she her name is
Super
Lisa
cool.
Jacob.
where is she now?
That's a name that needs to
see
come
it.
back. Lydia.
I agree.
Yeah,
Lydia's a good name.
Lydia needs to come back.
That's pretty.
But Lisa Jacob, so she was actually kicked out of her school in Canada for the 5-month
Real
filming
life?
stint. Yeah, she was kicked out of her school in Canada because she was gone for 5 months
well,
to
that's
do filming.
Canada, though.
Damn it, Canada, for doing a 5-month
Where do
filming
they get
stint.
off sharing a border with countries far superior to it?
Oh my God. Anyway.
The right people will get that joke.
So she was kicked out of her school since she was gone for so long to
Mm-hmm.
film the movie. Robin Williams actually wrote a letter to the school personally on her behalf asking them to
Really?
reconsider. Yes.
How
He's a great-
sweet
he's
is
a great
that?
guy.
Now-
How sweet
He
is
was
that?
a great guy.
Yeah.
You don't just do that.
No.
because
You
want-
don't,
yeah.
but here's how it ended. The school did not reconsider her, but they sure as hell framed his letter.
Are you
Wow.
are you
and
fucking
if you guys
kidding
are listening,
me?
Nope.
Wow.
What school was this? Do we know?
I don't know the name of the
We're
school.
going to Canada.
whatever school you are, you
going to-
bunch of bacon loving bastards.
I love bacon.
I hope a moose
Poops on
attacks
your
you.
whatever
It's horrible.
whatever happens to Canada.
Yeah.
They're very racist.
You've
Canadians.
said that before.
Oh,
I've
super
heard rumors
racist.
about
And
this.
Hyper.
my old job, the corporate building, they were in Canada, and I've never got that. I've never felt anything weird.
They
we were on the phone though, so
they like to act like they're not.
posers.
They are super racist.
I've never
yeah.
been, so
Oh
I don't
my
have any
God.
experience with this.
Oh yeah, I remember watching
Canada.
it. Yeah, I remember.
Bye.
You're canceled.
They left a long time ago.
Oh right, you've insulted them
Yeah,
before.
fuck Canada.
Okay.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember watching a documentary once
Yeah.
about and I actually like the term. They call them First Nations. They don't say, because they're not Native Americans, they're not Indians. They say First Nations.
Right.
Great term.
Makes sense.
They are so super racist towards First Nations people.
What?
Oh no.
It is insane. Like just the average Canadian, how much they hate them.
Why though?
I don't know.
Oh my!
It's not like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, how dare we come and steal your land and us be mad at you about it? Like, that's just...
Well, yeah, I mean, at least the Native Americans, who we took their land. They got to be in John Wayne movies. I mean, the Canadians.
It's my God!
No, you did not.
I mean, you get to say who.
That's their consolation prize.
Who stole your native land from you?
Thank you. I'm Indian, by the way.
Yeah. Ditto. Blackfoot. You didn't know?
Blackfoot tribe.
No shit?
Yes.
Holy crap. Yeah. Same here.
Up top.
Yeah, my
mom's
mom's dad, and like my mom's side of the family, they're all Blackfoot tribes. I'm like Black and African American.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I am.
Well,
from what they tell me,
Yeah. Because I do genealogy, and that was one of my discoveries. That
is so awesome.
Yeah. My grandmother's family, they were.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
I want to learn more about it. They have like Blackfoot tribe, should
get Jason
meetups and all this stuff. Like we're cousins. At this point,
there you go.
We're cousins.
I didn't know I was working with two relatives in the studio tonight.
So you gotta we gotta do your DNA and
we'd have to map me a little bit. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Actually, the really weird thing is I did the DNA test, and I am, and it's so weird because I've done like several of them. There is a percentage of Indian, like from India, Indian.
Huh.
And the weird thing is that there's always been a legend in my family that on my mom's side that her great something grandfather was a gypsy. Okay. And that's where the gypsies came from.
Wow.
Was India.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah. The whole concept of the gypsy started in that region. And so it's like, yeah, cool. So, yeah.
Very nice.
DNA is a cool thing. I encourage people to do it. It's so neat.
Well, they've been doing studies like that with people that not are necessarily racist, but they want to really expand people's minds about, like, you have no idea where you're from.
Right.
Why would you blindly hate on somebody when you really don't know
when your
more than like
when your
maybe
great
two generations
grandfather
back.
is whatever. Like, please stop.
And let's be honest, everybody identifies by which of their parents was most like. Like my wife, it's for years she's Italian. And it's like, well, her mom is Italian. Her dad's English, so she's half English. And then we do the DNA test, and lo and behold, she's not even really Italian.
I was about to say, Elaine does not present as Italian at all.
No, because when you go north in Italy, you eventually basically get in the same gene pool as like Switzerland and France and things like that. Yeah, alcohol abuse. So it's like, you don't know.
Because you might hit a bump and spill the drink.
Exactly.
Right.
The good thing it was empty.
Yep.
My last beer for a very long time.
Yes. Wow. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a good moment to break off into our most favorite product placement, if I can get that sentence out.
Yes.
Jason is about to go on a little bit of a hiatus for beer for a while, which I know he's sad about, gang. So what we did is we let him celebrate with his last Norcross Street from Variant Brewing for a while.
Well, my doctor said he wanted me to lose weight.
I wasn't going to bring that up unless you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. When you get to be 40, you don't give a shit about
That's
stuff
true.
like that
You
anymore.
said that multiple times.
I don't care at 26.
Yeah, it's like, your doctor says you need to lose weight, and you go, okay, fine.
I guess it'll give me a few more years. Why not?
Well, and my doctor says what you need to do is you need to cut carbs out. And I said, well, okay, that'll be a little difficult. And at first, I'm very upset. I'm like,
is butter a carb?
No, butter's totally cool.
No,
that's what's awesome.
I think
sandwiches.
Yeah, I think Shawann got that reference.
Get an unwich.
No.
But so he's like, you gotta cut carbs out. You gotta get rid of the French fries, which I love, and the beer. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And my doctor says,
gin or vodka.
Vodka. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what?
Which is ironic considering vodka is distilled from potatoes.
Yeah, but there's no carbs in vodka.
No, there's not.
That's good.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, you can. My doctor tells me, here's what you can do. You have to cut beer out. I'm like, oh, I'm so sad. And he goes, you have to replace beer with whiskey, vodka.
Okay.
So we're gonna destroy our liver, but we're gonna look incredibly trim
and
for
I'm
summer.
Thinking, this is the diet I've been waiting for. It's like I want to do a company that provides products for people on this diet. And
want to diet, but not want to kill yourself.
Yeah, I'm just going to sell here's your lunch drink, and it's just gin.
It's going back. To like those 50s magazines where it's like, ladies, if you want to lose weight, eat 3 boiled eggs in the morning and 4 glasses of Chardonnay.
Hell yeah.
Right, like, oh, thank you.
Oh, and champagne.
Yeah, champagne.
So champagne is totally cool.
Champagne's
So I can
the best.
basically like my diet will become vodka and champagne with some eggs in there. And I'm like, you're the best doctor ever.
Right.
You don't-
He should not have told. He should have said, just stop drinking for a little bit.
Yeah.
You're telling me basically to substitute the beer for more
Yeah.
vodka.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny when he said, cocaine, no carbs.
God. Is this Robert
Keep it
Downey
real.
Jr.'s doctor?
Keep
What the
it
hell is
real.
happening?
I like this.
Yeah.
Well, Ron from Parks and Recreation famously says, Nick Offerman says, clear liquors are for rich women on diets. So I guess you're a rich woman on a
Parks
diet.
and Rec.
I
I
wish.
never got it. I tried one episode. 'Cause I'm such a The Office fan. I'm trying. I want to watch it so bad.
They
I haven't done it.
spin off from having too much of an Office feel because they start out where it's almost exactly like The Office because
Okay.
it was supposed to be a spin-off. Michael was supposed to have sent a fax that wound up by accident in Leslie Knope's office.
Okay.
So that's where that all
Oh,
started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It had more of a tie to The Office than people think it does. Mose from The Office, Dwight's cousin, his crazy farm
Is he on
cousin.
there?
No, Mose is the producer, like one of the main producers on
Wow.
Parks and
That's
Recreation.
Parks and Rec.
Super
Look,
random.
Parks and Rec was a good show.
It's a good show.
It really,
I'm a
my
binge it.
problem with Parks and Rec was, I always hate it whenever a show has an obvious love interest that they just get rid of and then introduce. Because
Which one did they get rid of?
Well, because it was Ben Wyatt was the one that she ended up.
Yeah. Leslie and Ben end up together.
But
Spoiler alert.
But before Ben,
Thank you.
before
was
Ben,
Justin.
yeah, but it was the same sort of thing though. It was like the same kind of feel.
No, it wasn't. Justin was a complete tool who told stories and sort of used Leslie to sort of make his own life more interesting. She was with Louis C.K. in the first season.
Louis
He was the
CK,
cop.
yeah.
And then she was with Justin Theroux, Justin, on the show.
Yeah.
And Tom had like a man crush on him. Am I right, Justin? So, but yeah.
I have to watch this show.
See, I
it's amazing.
all these shows. I
Nick
just,
Offerman.
What's better though, Office or Parks and Rec?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
It's a better show.
Anyway,
Jeez,
they're both good for different reasons.
Got
like
you.
Anne, what's her face? Jim's girlfriend before he dumps her and gets together with Pam.
Yeah, Karen.
Karen Filippelli.
She's in there.
Yeah, she
I
is,
love
but
her
I don't
too.
like her on either show.
No.
She's terrible.
Terrible acting or terrible just
I just
terrible?
don't like the characters.
Okay.
She's not a terrible
She
actress.
fits
No,
But
Rashida
John-
Jones is awesome.
But she's hot.
Oh,
by the
Rashida.
way.
Yeah,
Rashida Jones
yeah,
is great.
yeah.
I just don't like the character she plays
Right.
on either
I
of her
had
shows.
no idea that Peggy Lipton was her mom until she passed away. I had no idea.
Yeah, she's got famous parents.
Peggy Lipton. That was so
Quincy
sad.
Jones and Peggy Lipton.
Yeah, it was so sad. She was young, you know, and I mean, apparently she said she had cancer for like quite a
She
while.
battled it for a
Yeah,
minute,
she fought
yeah.
it for a while, but that is so sad because as a hardcore Twin Peaks fan, that is one of the things that I just loved was seeing the whole Peggy Lipton's character coming full circle.
Yeah.
You know, in the revival of Twin
Right.
Peaks, and it was really. In fact, I don't know if you noticed this in the movie Much Ado About Nothing. If you watch the end credits, that's actually who I dedicated it to, because she
I didn't see. I haven't watched it all the way through
because
yet.
she died the day I was editing, the day I was cutting everything together.
I
was when
didn't
Peggy
know
Lipton
that.
died. Yeah, so
I
I
haven't
put that in
watched it
there.
all the way through because I
Yeah.
swear to God, I'm trying.
Why
to
would
get,
you? You were in it.
I'm trying to get the show out of my head.
Yeah, I was about to
I would
say-
watch it
No.
all the way
Yeah,
through.
I was
Come
sitting at home with Josh, and he said something, and I said, "I do much wonder." I actually started on one of Adam's lines, and I started quoting the show, and I just worked it into a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh," and Josh didn't even notice because who would? And I was like, "I'm never gonna get that show
No.
out of my freaking head." And
No.
he goes, "Has it taken up space in your head?" I was like, "Yes." It's like Sherlock's theory that the brain is like an attic. And you can only store so
Mm-hmm.
much in there. He was like, "Cool. I wonder what got removed." And I was like, "Well, the Rick and Morty quotes are safe. I can tell you that."
That's
No,
what I meant.
That's all I know.
I actually, somebody said something, and I'm not kidding you. I actually went, "Is it possible?"
Oh, very easily possible. You see, he waves his face. No, that's happening to me. It's triggering me in real life.
I have a very random question.
As if we haven't been off topic all night.
I'm literally shifting the whole gear right now.
Do it.
Good, do it.
Do you guys watch The Adventures of Kimmy Schmidt?
Oh my God, yes.
Do you guys really watch it?
Yeah, I've seen every episode of it.
He's seen more of it than I have.
In the Office.
I haven't seen
I just
the latest.
started watching it.
In fact, Kimmy Schmidt was actually in our play.
Titus Andromedon, a nod to Shakespeare
seriously,
in and of itself.
The actress who played Claudio.
She looks so much
She
like
looks
Kimmy
exactly like Kimmy Schmidt.
Really?
Well, now that you've watched it, okay, do you remember?
So good.
Do you remember?
I didn't watch the whole thing though. Wait,
She
wait,
just
wait.
started it.
I'm on season like 2.
Okay, well,
I'm like binging it.
Do you know the girl who goes, "I hate you, Kimmy"? You know, her sister, her half sister.
Yeah, that was in the bunker with her.
No, she wasn't in the bunker
Don't know
with her.
her. I don't
Okay,
know her yet.
when you get to that, if
Okay.
you go back and you remember the actress who played in the play,
Okay.
she was
Play with us.
yeah, with us.
Okay.
The actress who played Puck.
Okay.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
She is a dead ringer for I
shit.
hate you, Kimmy, who is actually
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that because I don't remember it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
She rapped, yes.
Yeah.
I remember her
God,
rapping.
I love Kimmy Schmidt.
When I say she is like one of the funniest.
Oh, she's incredible.
She's so
Titus, I love Titus.
Titus'
is-
face. She's like, I gotta go.
Every
Titus
expression
is the best.
Titus can do no wrong.
Is that why you cry in the bathroom? No, Kimmy, that's because of cheese.
I follow him on Instagram and he like comes on there. He's just like,
Do you know?
bye. It's like, what?
Do you know who he played? The first time I ever saw him, he played in. He was on Broadway
Okay, I can see that.
in The Little Mermaid. He played
What do you
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
No, Under the Sea.
Yeah, he played Sebastian.
Under the Sea, yeah.
And it was like, it's
the
awesome. It's so
best.
awesome. It's like, it's Titus.
Yeah.
I just thought he's
Gonna
when you
be
have a minute,
famous.
look up his extra GIF because at one point, and I'm not going to give you any
Don't
context.
tell me anything.
No, it doesn't ruin anything. He's
Yeah.
walking down the street with a black cape on,
Okay.
shades, and he's walking a peacock
Yeah,
on a
peacock,
leash.
yeah.
And he runs into somebody that he's trying to impress.
Right.
He takes off
His
his
ex-boyfriend.
sunglasses. She said don't
Don't
spoil it.
tell me.
Oh,
Damn it, man.
I'm gonna start singing, and I don't want to hear that.
He takes off his sunglasses, and underneath is another pair of sunglasses.
Yes, Titus. Yeah.
Titus is so extra.
one of the things my friends and I do is if something if something happens, we go, run, Lillian.
All right. Me and my mom came in town for Mother's Day, and we started. I saw her on the cover, and I was like, I know her from The Office. We started binging. My mom was like, I'm on like season 5. My mom, and I'm like, I'm on season 2. So you really, and my mom loves the show.
Oh God, The Office.
It
Oh, it's
has to
awesome.
be good.
Even because
Yeah.
you know that Steve Carell left later in the seasons and stuff like that. That's very public, but somehow they made it work.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you and I have had discussions about Will Ferrell and my feelings about that. So
I've seen The Office.
Oh, I thought you just said you were on season 2.
No, I said no. Kimmy.
Kimmy Schmidt. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I've watched The Office all the way through.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. I love The Office.
I'm actually
Well-
going to be participating in an Office trivia event this coming Friday, and I'm going to.
Next Friday?
Where?
When? Tell me the details.
I will send them to you.
Please, I will be there.
Well,
I'll text you.
speaking of details, because we are at the point in the show where we regrettably must sign off.
Okay.
We're getting there. Yeah.
We
so,
need tell us again every single tell us your social media
Okay.
and tell us about where you're going to be appearing.
Okay. First off, my name is Shawann, but my social media is wanny.g. That's WANNY.g. That's on Instagram and Facebook. July 17th, I will be at Village Theater, 7 p.m., $10 at the door, performing and competing for a $500 prize.
Heck yeah.
Comedy stand-up event.
And you know what we should do is there an email address that people have to email to say this is the person we want to win?
Yeah, when you get in there, the email will
give it
be
to you
on like
then.
a screen or something.
Okay.
So when we all
So it's
done
not released
performing, yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do then,
Yeah.
though, is we're going to find out. We're going to tweet that the
Yes.
second we know it.
Yes.
You mean Darth is going to tweet that because you don't
Yeah, because
ever
I don't tweet things.
don't get on Twitter.
Yeah, you do Twitter and friend face and
And friend face.
blue teeth and all that stuff. But we encourage
hanging out with old
we
guys.
we encourage everyone out there who is an honest, decent human being to cheat their balls off.
Come on, red-blooded Americans, cheat like your mama taught you.
Because we want to make sure that we cheat as much as we know everyone else is going to be cheating.
Exactly. They cheat.
Of course they cheat.
Yeah.
We got that. I'm going to bring it back to the movie one last final time.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we do conclude with Robin Williams. He has this heartfelt court scene. Ultimately, he wins custody of his children, not through the court, but because Sally Field takes pity on him. And they're sort of reminiscing, and they're like, "Oh, I miss her. I miss her impressions. I miss her stories." And Sally Field's like, "Mrs. Doubtfire isn't real." And you come to find she's now a character on the show, and Robin Williams is the star.
I didn't think about that.
Everything came full circle.
Oh, my goodness.
He's got his own little show now,
And to be fair, Your Honor, she used to, Burt Reynolds.
for real
So,
though. I mean, Pierce Brosnan and Burt Reynolds wanted this. Smokey and James Bond wanted this woman. I mean, the Bandit. Sorry, the Bandit
and Pierce
wanted her.
Brosnan ended up with Keely Shea Smith.
So I mean, everybody
So,
won. But yeah, you get a good, poignant, like sad court scene. Things are kind of downtrodden for a minute, but then Sally Field has a change of heart, and Robin Williams gets his kids back. And what really got me is that now that Robin is gone, whenever I see a sad moment in his movies, it's even harder to watch.
It is.
But it's a happy moment, but you hear Mrs. Doubtfire reading a letter from the fans, and one of them says, "My parents are divorcing, and my brother says we're not going to be a family anymore." And he's like, "No, dear, families come in all shapes and sizes, dear. It's okay." And just telling her that it
Makes me want to tear up just hearing you tell it.
it's gonna,
It's sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
so
awful.
sad.
But he's like, families sometimes just have one mommy or one daddy, or they don't live together or whatever. But don't worry, dear. You have all my love. Goodbye, Poppet. And I was just like, oh my god, I can't.
Yeah.
That was like
Robin
the
Williams
ending of the movie,
Yeah.
and it made sense.
And then it
but
fades to
was
black.
sad.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's
Well,
such a heartfelt movie at the core of it.
And not to, this will sound really dark, but it's actually light if you hear when I was in college, in grad school, I had a professor, really, really great professor. His daughter died.
Oh no.
And we had a little memorial service, and I went up to him and I said, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to tell you right now. I don't know what to say.
Nobody does.
And he said, I take comfort in the fact that, because she was 18 when she died.
Oh God.
And he said, for 18 years, she was a part of my life. I got to have her in my life for 18 years.
Oh.
And I'm looking at it from the glass half full,
Wow.
because I had her in my life for 18 years. And I think with people like Robin Williams, these people, you don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know the heartache and the trouble and everything, But we got to enjoy Robin Williams for our childhood.
Yeah, he
that's
was just
true.
this magical
Yeah.
elf of a figure that came and went.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Wow.
but
And he crossed generations. Whether you're first, if you're like
whether
me,
you're Mork and Mindy,
yeah,
whether
and it was
you're
like
Aladdin,
that's what I was gonna say.
which is actually, listeners, the next film we'll be talking about. It's going to be a Robin Williams heavy week, which I'm
Wow,
okay
that's
with.
So true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aladdin.
But it's like, look, whether you got to know him as Mork or as Aladdin, we got to have this person as a part of our youth, that magical time when the
Our
world
minds
is
were
just,
still developing.
Yeah,
and Well, that's why I always loved him and I always put him and Jim Carrey in the same boat together, because I was kind of a strange kid, and I was just happy to see these beacons of light in these two adults that were not just funny and goofy, but successfully funny and goofy.
Very much so.
They were my heroes growing up,
Yeah.
and that's why I was just so heartbroken to hear that he had passed. But
Yeah, I mean, in dark times, it's such an amazing thing to have somebody who can just laugh and be happy,
and make everybody in the
Wow.
room happy.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
true.
Exactly.
it's a rare talent.
Wow.
Well.
All that to be said, you can actually reach us, listeners, on the dying social media on Facebook. You
And
can
Instagram.
And Instagram. You can reach us on Twitter as well at Hindsight Horror. You can reach us on Instagram, the more popular of the grams, from what I can tell, at Hindsight is Horrifying.
Yeah.
We tweet a lot about beer and variant brewing and our podcast every now and then, I guess. But we're just so happy to have had Shawann to come and share this time
Thank
with
you
us.
very
guys.
much.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
And We've always got some future projects cooking up, listeners, so just keep in tune with us. I know you don't follow us on social media or email us, but we know you're listening. We know you're out there.
Yep. Yeah, we know you're there. And as we say every week, and before I say that, though, again, thank you, Shawann, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, guys. I had a ball.
It was a blast. It was a blast.
We may not stay on topic, but damn, do we have fun.
We had a good time.
Yeah, and the rule is, you guessed once, that just means you got to come back again.
I shall.
We've already had 2 repeat
You know
guests.
I will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know I will. You guys know.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We have to hear about how that comedy show goes.
Yes.
So.
Well, we'll be there.
That's
we'll be
true.
there.
I will be
guys,
there.
man.
Cheating the system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and on that note, we would like to thank everybody out there for spending your daytime, your nighttime, your drive time, whatever time it was with us. We hope you enjoyed hanging out with us. We certainly enjoyed hanging out with you. For Hindsight is Horrifying, this is Jason Mitchell.
Your beloved Darth Jader.
wanny.g.
And we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Good night, everybody.
Later.